Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So a while ago I asked my subscribers if you wanted me to do some Roscoe's recaps for previous seasons of Drag Race, and the majority of you voted for yes, so here you go. For this video I've decided to combine the viewing parties for episodes 1 and 2 of season 14 into the same video. Today we're going to be talking about why Willow Pill thought that she was going to be in the bottom, why Adore Delano, quote, hated her makeover partner on season 6, and why Detox severed ties with the Drag Race tour. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. And just before we get started, I just want to say that I'd really love to get to 100k subscribers by the end of the year, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do, as it really makes a massive difference to my channel. Thank you! We'll start with the viewing party for episode 1 of season 14, and the guests were Denali, Adore Delano and Willow Pill. So they started off and host Batty Davis asked Willow what it was like doing her workroom entrance, and just to remind people, this was a split premiere season, and so this episode was the one that Willow was in. And Willow said it's really awkward because there's no music or sound effects like when you watch it on TV, and you have to stand and pose for several minutes in total silence. And Willow said the other girls were, quote, talking bleep about her, but she couldn't hear them because they were standing so far away. Batty then asked if the queens ever get to redo their entrances, and Adore said that on season 6, she did her entrance 3 times. Adore explained that she was, quote, genuinely upset that there was no one else there to talk bleep with, because Adore was the first person to walk in the workroom. And apparently the first time she walked in, she was totally underwhelmed because she was the only one in the workroom and just said, quote, what the F? And the producers told her she had to pose, so she had to redo her entrance, but then the second take sounded, quote, too rehearsed, and so she had to do it a third time, which is what we saw in the episode. Denali said that on her season, she had to redo her entrance twice, because the first time she missed her mark and walked way too close to the camera and the producers made her do it again. And Willow said June Jambalaya did the same thing and walked right up to the camera, but in reality you need to stand about 5 feet away from the camera, otherwise it doesn't look right. And I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Martha Stewart and Marley Spoon. The Martha Stewart and Marley Spoon is a fantastic meal kit service that offers a weekly menu of 100 plus recipes to choose from. Every week you can choose from a range of delicious meals and a rotating selection of add-ons like breakfast, smoothies, appetizers and desserts. And Martha Stewart and Marley Spoon will send you a box with all of the ingredients and the recipes so you can create delicious meals without the hassle of having to go grocery shopping. And what's more, if you use my code DRAGT235, you'll get up to 42% off your first box, and in total for your first 5 boxes, you can save up to an incredible $235, and you'll even get free shipping for the first box. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Thanks again to Martha Stewart and Marley Spoon for sponsoring this video. They then talked about the moment in the episode when the queens met RuPaul for the first time, and the queens were attached to a wheel and were spun around while they had their photo taken. Willow said that they were only strapped in by the arms and legs, and Denali said she thought it looked a bit dangerous. And Willow said that it was, quote, nauseating, because although you only see it on screen for about 30 seconds, in reality they were spinning on the wheel for about 15 minutes, so she felt totally nauseous afterwards. They then moved on to the talent show that episode, and Willow said she had no idea what to do for her talent show, and Denali said that although the casting of the new seasons is kept secret, the queens kiki with each other, and so a lot of the time the queens know who is going to be on the new seasons. And apparently Willow and Denali are friends, so Willow called Denali and told her what she was going to do for her talent number. And although Denali said she thought it was a good idea, in reality she wasn't sure how it was going to read. They also talked about Alyssa Hunter's talent where she played a fake guitar, and Willow said they were all expecting Alyssa to play a real guitar, so they were surprised when they realised it was actually a fake guitar. Host Caramel asked if the queens film their talent numbers more than once, and Willow said they had to film it twice. And Cara said that usually if a queen messes up, that is the take that they show in the episode. And Denali said, quote, if they want to. And the audience gasped a bit, and Denali said, quote, why y'all gagging? Pheromone fell once, and they said she fell. This is referring to the All Stars 4 talent show when Pheromone fell over during her performance, and it sounds like Denali is saying that Farah only fell in one of the 2 takes, but the show decided to use that take rather than the take when she didn't fall. And Willow confirmed that in the season 14 talent show, there were some mess-ups made by the queens during the performances, but they cut them out in the final edit. Willow also said the queens only had 1 minute exactly for their performances, and it couldn't be a second over or under a minute. And Adore said that it was the same for All Stars 2, and joked that she was a quote rebel and did her performance for 1 minute and 8 seconds. They then went back and talked more about Willow's talent show number, which involved Willow throwing multiple items into a bathtub, including a toaster. And Willow said the reason she did that performance is because the song was by Enya, which was on the list of the songs that they were allowed to use, and Willow had made a similar video in high school with her friends and she wanted to recreate it. And Willow thought about how she could turn the performance into a joke about ending her life. Willow also said that she suggested the idea to the producers of throwing the toaster in the bathtub at the end, and Willow thought that there was, quote, no way that they would agree to it. But apparently the producer on the phone said that they would need to check if it was okay, and later they told Willow it was fine, so she was able to use the toaster, which Willow was surprised about. Willow then said that she genuinely thought she was going to be in the bottom that episode because the judges were silent throughout her talent show and just had their jaws open. And because Willow was the last one to get critiqued, she was waiting for a long time thinking she was going to be in the bottom before she realised that the judges actually liked what she did. They then talked about Untucked, and Caramel asked how long they film Untucked for, and Willow said that just for Untucked alone, they filmed for about 3 hours, which many people were surprised by. Denali then said that it changes all the time because sometimes they stop halfway through Untucked for lunch, even though it's 4 PM, and Willow agreed and said that they often had lunch at 4 or 5 PM while filming. Denali also said that on her season, on the episode she went home, because she was so nervous she didn't eat, and the producers tried to make her eat but she said no. And Willow said that you also poop so much because of the stress during Drag Race, and apparently on Willow's season, every time they had to film the New Day in the workroom entrance, everyone said they had to go poop beforehand, so they had to wait until everyone was done. Adore also said that's the reason why so many girls lose weight during filming and come out a dress size smaller. Denali then spilled some insider tea and said that often when you go to the bathroom, that's the only time you're able to be on your own during Drag Race. And apparently when Denali was in the bottom on her season and had to lip sync against Kimora Hall, she pretended she had to go to the bathroom right before the lip sync, and when she was inside, she took off the corset that she was wearing underneath her outfit and hid the corset in a cupboard inside the bathroom so that the producers wouldn't see her taking it off, because Denali didn't want to have to lip sync while wearing a corset. Batty Davis said that she still couldn't believe that they make the queens film Untucked for 3 hours and they only get 1 can of drink. And Willow said you're allowed 2 cans, but that's it, and because you haven't eaten all day, the drinks really affect the queens more than usual. And Denali said that on her season, when she was in the top for Snatch Game in episode 9, she felt pretty confident in Untucked and ended up stealing more drinks, so she was pretty drunk. And then apparently on the runway, she was wearing rollerblades for her fascinating fascinators look, and she was swaying while on the runway because she was so drunk. Adore said that she was also quite drunk when she lip-synced against Jocelyn Fox in episode 10, which was the makeover challenge with the brides. And Adore said, quote, I hated my bride, I wanted to kill him. He was like, I went swimming with my kids last night, which is why his face was peeling, and I was like, I hope you effing drowned it. But then the episode started playing at the viewing party again, so Adore didn't finish the story, and it may have been that Adore was just making a joke and this wasn't meant seriously, but it wasn't spoken about again, so it's not clear. They then moved on to the audience Q&A, and an audience member said that although Adore has probably been asked this so many times, she wanted to know if Adore regretted quitting All Stars 2. Adore said that at the time there was a lot going on in her personal life and she didn't take the time to process and deal with it, and the producers had already asked her to be on All Stars 2 times before and Adore had said no. But then when they asked her for a third time, she decided to just do it because she thought it would be a good distraction. And so Adore went out and bought a load of clothes, but then when she got to All Stars, she got really upset whenever she had to talk about what was going on in her personal life, and the reason for that is because she hadn't dealt with her issues. Adore said that many people don't know this, but after Adore told RuPaul that she wanted to leave, she was in RuPaul's dressing room for about 2 hours, and RuPaul was trying to convince her to stay in the competition. But Adore said she doesn't regret leaving because she needed to leave so she could process things, and even if she had stayed, she probably would have been eliminated in the next episode because her mind was just not in the competition. Caramel then said that she had heard Adore was asked to be on another season of All Stars and asked if that was true. Adore said that she was supposed to be on All Stars 6, but they were, quote, negotiating for too long about letting Adore do her talent show number, which was spitting fire off a guitar. And Adore said she had spit fire before when she was in high school, so she knew how to do it safely, but it was too much to try and get the show to approve it, so she ended up saying no and not being on All Star 6. Adore also added that she had even already purchased all of the props for the talent show, like a guitar as well as fake glass bottles, which she was going to break over her head. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the viewing party for episode 2 of season 14, and the guests were Detox, Carson Kressley, and Rosé. And just as an FYI, Rosé appeared out of drag at this viewing party because her flight was delayed and she presumably didn't have time to get in drag before the viewing party. So they started out by talking about the fact that for the second split premiere episode, the queens had to do a photo shoot in a vat of Tic Tacs. And host Naysha Lopez said that the first challenge on most seasons is a photo shoot, and she asked Detox about the underwater photo shoot that she did on season 5 because Detox won that challenge. Detox said that she was really surprised that she won that challenge because the photo that they used in the episode was the first photo they took, but then when she came up for air, her wig and her hat fell off and one of her shoes also fell off. And so Detox thought she had ruined her first impression on the show, and that's why she cried when RuPaul later announced that she had won the mini challenge because she was so shocked. They then moved on and Naysha mentioned that Maddy Morphosis is straight and asked if anyone was really that surprised that a straight person was doing drag. And Naysha said that men like Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy and Robin Williams are all straight men who have done drag. And Naysha said, quote, "This is not a new thing by the way, so the heat that she gets, y'all need to effing relax with that bull bleep because seriously, it's not a new thing." They then talked about the talent show and Naysha mentioned Detox's talent show number on All Stars 2 with the drums and paint. And Detox said that she had done that number several times before while on tour, and she's known as the Queen of Neon and she wanted to do something messy. But Detox said that the show was, quote, not being cooperative, and Detox said that she needed the stage to be dark and backlit so that the neon paint would be visible on screen, and the show originally said no and said that they didn't have time to do that. And Detox joked that she said to them, quote, "Well then, I don't have time for you," even though that's not actually what she said to them. But in the end, they made it work, and usually the queens have to do all their performances twice, but Detox only did her performance once because it was so messy. They then talked about the moment in the episode when Alicia Keys appeared behind the mirror to talk to the queens because it's a two-way mirror. And Naysha said that it's really hard to do your makeup in that mirror because you can see through it. And Detox added that you can constantly see the camera moving around on the other side of the mirror, and you can hear the story producers talking to each other on the other side of the mirror as well. And Detox joked that she tapped on the mirror and told them to shut up, and Rosé joked that while you're doing your makeup, the producers would say to you from the other side of the mirror that you need to, quote, ask Samantha what year her mum died in a plane crash. Rosé also added that the mirror would ripple all the time because people were moving around, and so it was really hard to do your makeup and eyeliner. They then talked more about the talent show numbers, and Carson said that RuPaul really foreshadowed what would happen when he told Daya that doing a lip sync as a talent show number to a Pink song doesn't really tell us anything about her as a queen, and that's why it wasn't very well received. And Detox said that you can do a lip sync, but you need multiple gags, like multiple hats stacked on top of each other, or lots of confetti to make the performance pop. This then brought them to talking about the fact that Daya got compared to Crystal Methyd during the judges' critiques because the two of them are in the same drag family. And Naysha said that there's a fine line between living for someone's style and full-on imitation, and she asked the guests what they thought about it. Detox said she didn't think Daya was imitating Crystal Methyd, they just look like they're part of the same family because they are. But Detox said that this happens all the time on Drag Race over all of the seasons, and people often tell the queens, quote, "You're giving Alyssa Edwards," or something like that. And Detox said that we're all, quote, "giving something," especially if Drag Race is your only reference to drag that you have. Which is why, in Detox's opinion, Drag Race needs to stop self-referencing when it comes to the contestants. And Detox also said, quote, "If you don't want a contestant who is from the house of Methyd, then don't cast a contestant from the house of Methyd." They then moved on to Untucked, and Naysha said that Rosé's season had quite an eventful Untucked, such as Candy Muse versus Tamisha Iman, and Naysha asked if Rosé can spill some backstage tea about an unaired moment from Untucked or from her season in general. Rosé said that pretty much everything was shown, but what surprised her is that the person that she was closest to on set from her season was Gottmik, but then when they watched the season from home, they never showed any of their friendship. And Detox said that instead they kept perpetuating the narrative that Rosé and Denali had some kind of romantic attraction, and Drag Race liked to do that. And Detox joked and said, quote, "Blame it on the edit," available on iTunes. They then moved on to the Q&A, and an audience member asked where else the audience can support the queens besides Werq The World. Just in case you don't know, Werq The World is a tour that features queens from Drag Race, and it's produced by Voss Events in conjunction with VH1 and World of Wonder. And Voss Events has been criticised in the past for some apparent dubious business practices. I did do a video about this, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. But Detox said that she would not be working with Werq The World again because she had, quote, "severed ties with them." And the reason is because when Detox was in Asia on tour with Werq The World in 2020, they refused to fly the queens back when the pandemic started, and this was quite a big drama at the time because it put the queens' health at risk. Detox also said that they, quote, "effed me over with my calendar." And finally, they talked about life after Drag Race, and Detox said that you can prepare as much as you want for Drag Race, but ultimately a lot of the power and the way people perceive you is down to the editing. And Detox said, quote, "I left season 5 thinking I was going to be Miss Congeniality. Clearly I wasn't," and everyone laughed. Detox also said, quote, "I was a lot nicer than the things that they showed, and that's why I kept my mouth shut a lot of times during All Stars." So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recaps for episodes 1 and 2 of season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this Roscoe's recap, and if you'd like me to do more of these videos for the previous seasons of Drag Race. And I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreons. In the You're a Winner Baby tier, we have Emerald1508, PC Smush, Christian and Ethan. And then in the Shantae You Stay tier, we have Charlie, David, Becky, Craig, Max, Kylie, Amy and Linda. You are all absolute legends, and your support really does make such a massive difference to my channel, so thank you all so much. If you'd like to join my Patreon and get exclusive benefits, such as early access to my videos, shoutouts in my videos, as well as priority access when submitting interview questions, among other benefits, you can join my Patreon for just a few dollars a month to unlock these amazing benefits, and I'll put a link in the description. Please make sure you like, comment and share this video, as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!